Gramercy Park annual meeting is now open. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know that everybody's tired probably, but it's important that we have this once a year, and it's in our declaration and bylaws that we must have one every year on the 26th of October, or the last Thursday of October. I would like to read an opening statement, and we're going to adopt this communication policy because we've had some issues in the past and we don't feel that we need to have those anymore, and it's disrespectful to everybody. So Gramercy Park is adopting a formal communication policy that we would like everyone, residents, board members, and guests to adhere to this meeting. The purpose of establishing this set of guidelines is to provide an open and safe environment where ideas and opinions can be shared in a way that is civil, constructive, and respectful to one another. All members, board guests are expected to conduct themselves in a manner that is tolerant, understanding, inclusive, and promotes a constructive dialogue. Above all, we want to be respectful of one another and kind to our fellow members. Anyone who engages in personal attacks, use derogatory language, speech or acts in a threatening manner, or otherwise disruptive, may be asked to leave the meeting. We are here for the same reason. We care about our community. We want what's best for our neighbors, property values, and quality of life. We thank you for attending and to adhere to these guidelines. Also, I would like to introduce the board at this time. Alan Cooksey, he's in charge of grounds and fountains, lights. Carla Dennis. She's our communication person, and she's in District 4. Alan is in District 3. Alfie Corrick is our treasurer, and this will be her last meeting because she's quitting. But she's retired. So this will be her last meeting, and we thank her for all of the work that she's done. Dave Bradley, he's at large, and he is in charge of streets and sidewalks. Brad Jordan, he is in District 5, and he is our secretary. Wade Brad. Alright. Also, I'd like to introduce you to, we have a lot of people want to be the library. So we have a representative, Renee. And everybody should have picked up a Google Bible information. It's questions and answers. Oh, and if you'll make sure your cell phones are turned off, please.
I did that.
Unless you're expecting a call from your higher power, just turn it off. Okay, everybody should have picked up if you didn't, then we can get you one. That it has questions and answers, so if you want to come up with ideas, or might you call on
All right, everybody, thank you so much for taking time to be here and support your community. My name is Renee. I've been with Google Fiber for a little over 6 years now. I'm such a growing with the company, which is always very exciting. And just as kind of preface what Google Fiber is and kind of what our motto is faster, fair, kinder internet. The idea is to bring in internet in a better way that has never been done before. So we want to make sure that any of your questions are answered, see what kind of questions you have for me specifically, and then I can do my best to get you what you need to know. Does anybody have any questions for me? That does depend. I know they're working on legal background just to make sure everything in your buildings are built properly, to make sure that we have the correct right of way, and to make sure that there's minimal impact to you all as we build into the units. So, as far as I'm aware, which could potentially change, but we're looking at March next year.
Not sooner.
Yeah, so, and that's okay, please. So March next year is kind of what we're looking at. It could be sooner potentially. It just really depends on how quickly everything goes through. Yes, sir. So we have a couple options actually. Our flagship plan is our 1 gig service. That's kind of our staple. And the way I kind of put it is with the 1 gig service, again, which is your face, it's kind of like watering a garden. So if you have a big plot of garden outside, you want to go outside with a cup of water and try to water a big plot of garden, which would be kind of your main internet. Do you want to go out with a watering can, which will get you a little more, right? Or do you want to go out with a hose, which is your 1 gig service, and that'll take care of all of your plans for you and save you time as well. So the 1 gig service is great for pretty much any family. It's good for individuals, and really as technology grows over the next couple of years, everything is evolving and changing constantly. That plan is enough to kind of hold everybody over and move forward with the times so that you don't really have to worry about your internet. It works for you, and you can kind of set it and forget it. We do also have one of the highest uptime in Kansas City. Our internet really doesn't go down, so you don't really have to worry about being in service.
I'm a gamer and I want this. I did the calculations. This is my page here. Right now I'm paying $64.99 for Spectrum. Getting 93 megabytes down with Google for $5 more a month. It is literally 900% faster. 900% faster. Yeah.
So it will work with our upstairs, the main, and downstairs, and as big as our little patios are, the front and back.
My son has it. He has a 3-story home, and it covers everything. He loves it.
We do work on constantly evolving our technology as well. We know Kansas City is kind of an older area. We all have the older buildings, especially in downtown, things like that. So we want to make sure that whenever you guys sign up for service, you have the technology and the equipment that you need to work for you. So we are constantly updating our equipment, checking and making sure that it does work on the multi-level, that it works in the big old brick buildings and the plaster and lath that we see all over Kansas City area. So if there is ever a problem, again, God forbid, if there is ever a problem, we work to make sure that you guys are working. So as long as you let us know, we can take care of it for you.
Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. For the router that you guys are providing on the service, is it the new ones that like you can have like the multiples are linked together?
Yes, so we are doing our Nest Wi-Fi 6 routers currently, and we did also just release a brand new router version as well. So it is still evolving, but right now we are currently working with the Nest Mesh Network Wi-Fi.
How many units do you provide for the initial service?
Up to 2 that are included with your service. It is a free rental, so as long as you sign up for service, your equipment is included for you. Anything after those initial 2 devices will be a charge for you depending on what you need.
Is the charge one charge only? Like we own the
Yes.
equipment afterwards?
Yes, if we charge you for the equipment, it is yours to keep. You own that equipment. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
So what needs to go in my house? Currently, I have like the Verizon box, but what Google Fiber would actually be in my house?
So Google Fiber, the way we come in, there will be just a little line that runs into your home, and what looks like an old school phone jack that just sits on your wall, little box about that big. That's kind of our main equipment. That's the heart of everything. From there, you just need a router to make your signal work. So it's not really too much different from what you most likely have now. Really, the only thing different is you're switching out equipment, and that little box on the wall, you won't even notice it. Yes, ma'am, that.
When's the last time you had a price increase on the 1 gig? Like how long has it been $70?
We have never had a price increase on the 1 gig service. It has been $70 since we came to Kansas City in 2013. We have no plans to increase or change it anytime soon. All of our pricing is consistent. There are no additional fees, installation fees, or anything of the sort. So what you get is what you pay for. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Or will Google maintain internal records of our browsing habits and all of that, and our browsing history to other companies?
Sure. We do not do any type of personal information or data collection. And if you so choose, and you use Google, the web browser, and you do have privacy settings on there that you can change to adapt to your preferences, Google Fiber holds no information of that sort. We specifically just have your credit card information for billing purposes and your address to know where to service you.
My company, we don't use Google Chrome, we can't use it.
Gotcha. Yes, so if you are concerned about privacy, I would just recommend signing into your Google search page and just double check your privacy settings on there. We do not collect any personal information. Of course. I got two. I'm going to get you first and I'll come back to you then.
So if you work from home, I'm very tech illiterate. What would you recommend? I'm not a gamer, but I do work from home.
Absolutely. So it really does depend on kind of what you do in your home. So if it's just you in the home, you work from home, you need a hardline connection, or 1 gig service honestly is plenty for you. If you have a larger family, let's say, you and your partner, maybe you have 1 or 2 kids, they're starting to do things from home, your partner works from home as well, and you have a lot more going on in your home at all times, then you might consider moving up to one of our higher plans. We do offer 2 gig, 5 gig, and 8 gig now, and we are currently working on 20 gig as well. So there is a lot of options for you. Generally speaking, your average homeowner can use 1 gig just fine. When you start getting into smart home devices, or you have a lot of gamers in the home, or everybody's trying to use the internet, then you might start looking into some of those higher options to just make sure, again, you're not watering your garden with a cup of water.
Just looking at the install, looks like they're gonna go into the front.
Yes.
So the access point will be locked and mounted on the exterior.
So,
When you do that, and then you're gonna go into the front of the house, as far as the installation.
as far as I'm aware, yes. So every build kind of varies, so I'm not super familiar with yours, but based on what I have here and what we've talked about as well, the fiber lines themselves, yes, should be run across the front of the building. From there, they'll actually bring that fiber line into your home for you. I think that's still to be determined where it's actually going to live in the apartment. But the fiber line itself is very small. It's almost translucent. So you really won't see where it comes in, and it should be pretty inconspicuous on the building as well. Obviously, we don't want to really disrupt the flow of your homes, and we don't want to have a big ugly thing on the exterior of your house. So, yes, it should come in through the front. The interior is to be determined, so.
We met with the installer, and he showed us samples of all the materials, and the line that comes in, so the line that goes on the outside is about the width of a toothpick. The line that comes inside is like monofilament fishing line. I mean, it's barely.
It's fiber optic. If you're familiar with that.
Yeah, and I've had your service before, where I lived before. I guess my concern or my question on this is, currently right now, is everything that I've had is routed into my garage, along my fence, and into the rear of the facility.
Okay.
So that's where all the coax and any access points are in there. So if it's changing, coming in from the front now, as far as the equipment that we're going to have to run it, how are we going to be, what are our options going to be for locating that?
It's gonna be on the front of the building because the workers don't have access to everybody's garage, everybody's patio, they just don't have access to it, and to get that access is almost a nightmare. So when they came out, and they've been out 2 or 3 times, they said the best way to do it is just put the box on the side, and then there's a box that'll keep all the stuff in it, and then it'll go up and then over, and every building, every unit will have this, but if you don't want it, you don't do anything. If you do want it, it'll be there, or if you sell your home, it'll be there. It's a good selling point, say, over set up for Google Fiber. But we have no choice that it has to be run on the front of the house.
So like inside, I think kind of this question too is, so like right now, I work from home, my office is down in my basement, comes in from the back of the house. So I need to be hardwired, so I have to run a hardwire from the front of my house to my, how is that, I mean, so am I only gonna have one access point in the house to be able to hardwire?
That's an excellent question. So with using the Nest Wi-Fi and the Nest 6, which are a mesh network system, basically what that means is you have multiple routers in your home now. So if, for instance, we have one that works in your garage only, and you need it on the second floor of your home, because they are both considered routers, you can still hardwire from that second device to your computer. Now, I would talk with your company, whoever you work for, to make sure that is okay. Some companies allow it, some companies don't. Most companies are okay with that. If you find that that doesn't work for you, we're absolutely happy to get a technician out to you to help you with that hardline connection.
So that's kind of what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, right now, my router is here in my home. I got a cabinet that it's not sitting out.
Sure.
As opposed to accessing to the front of the house. That's a different.
Right.
The equipment itself, where is it considered?
Absolutely. And honestly, because we don't know where it's coming into the home quite yet, it's kind of hard to determine how that's going to impact you all. Again, generally speaking, since we do use a mesh network system, ultimately it shouldn't really matter where it comes into the home for you, because you have that option of multiple routers in your home, so you can take it where you need it.
So where it comes in, you're saying that looks like an old fashioned phone jack?
Yes.
It's just gonna be on the wall and that's a self-contained thing?
Yes.
And then you have the routers placed throughout the house to.
Exactly. So you would have a main router that is plugged into that old style phone jack, but you can also have a second one that connects to that. It's still absolutely free, and it moves freeform throughout your home, so you can place it anywhere you need it.
I've got my house wired, and I've done a number of houses in prior lives, but these new mesh networks are amazing. I mean, basically, all you need, if they said, we can only come in by this window, and all your crap's over here, well, they put one there, they put one there, and you can run your hardware to that, and the mesh network, brings it all together. The speeds are incredible. The disconnect rate and the problem you have with repeaters and other things, these mesh network things are amazing, and they'll fix it. So unless you really definitely need hardline, I mean, you get Wi-Fi at the same or faster speeds, without even having to worry about a wire.
Well said. To also add to that, if you guys currently have your own router or network system or management system that you have set up, you do not have to use our equipment. You absolutely can use your own router, and we do allow for that, and we're built for that as well. So if you have a mesh network system set up at home currently, or you have an office set up that you don't want to mess with, you can still use your own equipment. Yes, sir.
And I probably missed something, but could you explain mesh network?
Absolutely. So a mesh network system basically means that you have multiple routers throughout your home that work together to create a blanket over your home. Instead of just one point where it reaches only so far, you have multiple points, so you can cover your full upstairs and your full downstairs as well, and they communicate with each other to make sure your signal is everywhere in your home, instead of just the same spot.
And with my present AT&T services down in the basement, I can be sitting on my sofa upstairs with my laptop there, and if I want to print something out,
fantastic. Every router kind of works differently. So if you have a router that allows you to do that, that's great. That means that you're getting great signal in your home. If you ever walk to, let's say out into your garage, do you ever lose signal out there? Or do you ever find a nook or cranny in your home that, like, well, the internet isn't working so great here, or it's really slow to work, to load whatever I'm trying to look at? That's what a mesh network system kind of eliminates. It eliminates those dead zones for you. So you have a more consistent connection throughout your home.
So you mentioned multiple routers.
Yes.
Does Google Fiber charge for the routers if we're using your routers? Are there equipment charges for that? How much are those charges?
Absolutely.
And is that a one-time purchase or is it a monthly?
Excellent question. So if you decide to use our equipment, it is a free and included device with your service. It's basically like a free rental. So as long as you have Google Fiber service and if you'd like to use our equipment, it is free of charge. When you're done with it, just bring it back to us. We do give away 2 that are included in your plan, free of charge. After that, if you need additional points throughout your home, there is a charge for those additional devices. And it's a one-time fee per device. Once you pay that, they're yours and you own them.
And how much is that one-time fee?
It depends on a couple of things. I believe right now it's $100 per device.
For our size units, 2 is almost overkill.
Yeah.
I don't see that our units, nor the largest ones, who actually need for free. Maybe, I mean, for weird reasons, depending on the wall thickness and whatever, maybe you have that spot that you might like to add an additional one. But the size of the units that we have, I hardly see the need for an addition for a third one. With the 2, it's pretty much over.
Perfectly put. 2 devices generally covers about 2,600 square foot. So it should cover
Even
most
if
of
it's
your
on
home.
different levels?
Yes, ma'am. Generally speaking, each device covers about 1,500 square foot individually. If you have a multi-level home, I generally recommend one on each floor of your home, just for the best connection, and to make sure that all those areas are covered for you.
Is the mesh system that you guys are using right now, using Wi-Fi 6 or 7?
Yeah.
6?
Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much for taking some of your time out of your meeting today. As we go along, your fiber representative, her name is Margaret, and she goes by Maggie. She will be around and she will be in contact as well. So if you do have further questions, she's more than happy to help. And I know that she'll be in contact throughout the construction process as well. So feel free to put a bug in her ear. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have moving forward as well. Thank you guys so much. Have a good evening. That's okay.
And with Google Fiber, they're going to do a meet and greet, so once we get signed up and everything, they're gonna come out for our residents, maybe bring snacks and sign you up, or if you have questions, they'll be here at the clubhouse to answer any questions and just meet you all. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much. I hope that answers a lot of the questions. And we do look forward to it. We're just waiting on one thing from our attorney, just a clarification. We'll get it to Google Fiber, and then we're ready to go. So we're just waiting on one clarification, and now we have. And then, now, on the buildings, each person will have one on their home. The townhomes will have them. Now, the duplexes, if you live in a duplex, you could actually sign up right now for Google Fiber. You would just put your address, go on googlefiber.com, put in your address, and if you own a duplex, then they can tell you, yes, it's in your area, we'll come in and get you hooked up. But on the townhomes, it's a multifamily, this is considered multifamily, so it's got to be a little bit different. All right, back to our meeting. All right. Everybody hopefully got a copy of the minutes and maybe have a chance to look at them, and if you have any questions, or if Brad, you want to come up and read the minutes, or do you just want everybody to read them, and if they have any questions?
Nah, not, we can, look them over, we can pass them if, take a vote on it. If you guys see anything, that needs change, contact me. And, we can discuss it.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? I know they're quite long. Usually we send them in the packet, but we didn't this time, so.
What was the update on FedEx damage?
We, had to turn it into our to the insurance. We got money to fix it. The end doesn't look too bad, but we're just waiting to see. FedEx never responded, never did anything to be turned into the insurance. So we got payment to repair it.
Oh, we paid $4
Of course, yeah.
and we do small things on FedEx for my solid thing.
Probably not, I would say. I mean,
I know like I there they said, oh, it's concrete, so it's solid stuff, but automatically it's like it's doing, it's not
Right.
concrete. So, I say, you get the car, the car's still works, but there's a different car.
yeah,
They should pay to fix it, I don't know why they wouldn't.
it's just Dave has been in contact with FedEx, and they're just basically just gave us the runaround. So, someone said that.
Any suggestions of what we're running about, going that way?
We did talk to the attorney, and he said it almost costs us more money to take them to small claims court with attorney fees and everything. He said turn it into the insurance, and then just kind of let it go.
I happen to work in insurance, I know a little bit, so our insurance would go against them, with cost subrogation, we'll get our deductible back.
They probably will. We won't know if.
It won't have
We'll only know if
to
they
do,
send
they'll
us
go
a check.
against the at-fault party.
So the solution is to cut out the bad area or let it over or what's the?
Dave, that would be, you want the mic?
Your daddy will cover it in the report.
Oh, okay. They will cover it in this report. So I would need a motion to approve the minutes,
So moved.
and then I would need a second also, please.
Second.
All in favor of accepting the minutes as they are? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're gonna have Alfie do the auditor's report now because she is losing her voice. And so, Alfie, would you like the microphone?
I did the audit for, I did the audit for fiscal year 2021, 2022. At that point, I was not the treasurer. Katie was, what Katie Ryan was. So I was able to do the audit. So just forget that I was treasurer this past year. Am I not talking to you? There you go. Oh, sorry. Right up to your mouth. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I'll try not to bore you like I did last year. As you all know, an audit is a formal examination of the financial books and records of the Gramercy Park Homes Association to determine the accuracy and completeness, to detect and recommend correction of errors, and to assure the board and the membership that the records are accurate. This involves in all the financial transactions through the records. Be sure the receipts were properly accounted for and expenditures made as authorized by the board of directors in conformity with bylaws, policies and procedures, and budget limitations, including all financial records shall be provided by the treasurer, the office manager of the audit. And this included going through all the check registers and the bank statements, the treasurer's financial reports and expense invoices, receipts, to make sure that nobody is embezzling any money. The audit found that there were no matters of significant importance, which include financial matters, and there are no operational deficiencies. The accounts receivable from unit owners of a high number at the end of fiscal year 2022. Current net accounts receivable was $5,669, of which $8,000 minus $8,329 was advance dues payments, and $2,660 was actual past due receivables of only 5% delinquent. Delinquency rates higher than 10% can adversely affect homeowners and increase dues or special assessments. But we do fine in that category. There are adequate reserves in the event of unforeseen emergencies should always be maintained, and the current nationwide recommendations for reserve funds are 20%, and we usually have more than that. The operating budget of $406,608 should hold in reserve approximately $81,000, and as of September 30th, 2022, Gramercy Park Association had approximately $100,000. A review of the actual expenses compared to the budgeted amounts shows that while a few line items exceeded projected amounts, the overall expenses were significantly below budget due to the contract and supply issues during the pandemic. For total net income of $13,818 versus a budgeted net income of minus $121,355. This indicated that the association was operating within its means. The fiscal year 2022 assessment of $174 per month. Thanks to the pandemic. While the net income for fiscal year 2022 was $13,818, the emergency expenses significantly exceeded the budgeted amounts. The emergency expenses include $5,000 for water main break, and $5,200 for storm damage, and another $1,225 for storm cleanup. The association has established a capital improvements fund to set aside funds for those maintenance activities that happen on an irregular basis each fiscal year going forward, as the association practices now. Required supplementary information for future major repairs and replacements, and undercapitalized association with inadequate HOA reserves will have no choice but to hit owners with special assessment, increase dues substantially, borrow money to meet the cash flow shortfall, or some combination of these options when unexpected occurs. The association has recently had a reserve study performed to address this issue and to plan more accurately for the future of Gramercy Park. Supplemental information on Actual versus budget, not every expense can be accurately forecast, which is why having enough reserves is important. Repeatedly underfunding expenses may result in planned projects being deferred and an additional cost to the association in the future. Careful review of expenses needs to be considered when preparing future budgets to ensure all maintenance projects are completed in a timely manner. Delaying projects will only cost the association more the longer they are delayed. The findings, there were no errors found with making audit. The main thing is that capital improvement projects were included in the budget. This indicates that the association is appropriately planning and funding capital improvement projects. Also, a new research study was performed, which is helping the board plan for the future of Gramercy Park. And that's all I'm going to stop. And anyone who wants to actually see the audit can just call the office and ask Shelley for a copy. There are several pages and there's more information in there. And I said I didn't want to bore everybody like I did last year.
So do you need a motion to accept her audit? And I'd like a second, please. And all of those who would approve that, please raise your hand. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you, Alfie. And speaking of the audit, we are looking to form a committee. Mike Green, if you'll stand for ready, has been so kind to head up that committee. He would like 2 other people to look for an audit company to do our audit for the year 2023. So if you would like to be on that committee, just give us a call at the office or just call Mike Green, or, if you know him, just say, yeah, I'll do that, okay? And so it's better to look outside of Gramercy Park so there's no conflict of interest. So, and it was pointed out that really it's better if we go with an outside agency. We're just keeping the costs down if we can. So.
Yeah, and as far as, you don't really have to have been during the audit if you have an accounting background or just some accounting courses in college. It's, the process is more about identifying the people that bid and then getting the list of those students. So it's really not a complicated process. You don't have to do that to be on that. But you need to know people.
We're going to do the treasury report, but Dave is going to do that for Alfie since she's losing her report. Dave, you want the mic? Yeah.
You can try it. Okay, we'll try this out and see how it works. Now, we're going to start here. Okay. The current assets of the balance sheet. We've got accounts in the security bank, a county checking account, 147, capital improvement fund, about 124. Now, those are 2 we'll be capping and balance our budget, which I'll explain later. Emergency fund of over 50, and the reserve fund of 50 is something that administratively we do in case something is wrong with the work. Okay, what else do we have? We have the liability to institute a section, which will help us deal with all the little loans that we receive in It said work done in 2023, the building in 24. Oops. When you're the next column is brief, we can now eliminate that problem. So there's the delinquencies were fairly low, 13 out of 197, and 4 of those have only paid. So things are looking bad there. And, see. But, okay, looking on to the profit and loss. It's like we got the landscape version page. You have some income, miscellaneous income. That is the FedEx return from insurance. And let's see, special expenses. Yeah, you can see we have making adjustments next year on computer desktop and everything, upgrading software and machines. Audit fees gone up considerably since we've been doing a professional one for the first time. And assume those fees will be reasonable, whether our budgeting is reasonable. And then what else do we have? Okay. Always intermediate expenses like clubhouse will be handled by the person covering that. Clubhouse, clubhouse can have the income by hour. Balance of land by hour. Pool by area. Streets and sidewalks will get made by hand. There's several little streets and sidewalks on the electrical ban, because that's just what happened. We had work done in September 22, and it's paid in 23, so we have extra 2 payments in 23. So we're like double our budget. Utilities came in pretty good. Capital improvement expenses. Let's see. Ready? You want to go over these capital estimates, just have individual members cover that on the road. Primarily, it's going to be probably affect you and my primarily too. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do a few things to put in on the pool improvements. It's a little jacking to eliminate some rough spots and settlement areas around the pool. So we'll post up it for people running around. We did sidewalk repairs around the area, some replacement. And we want to jacking work right now, see how that plays out. Yeah, let's see. We got some rocks and put it in the birch. And there's a problem with that for a while. Got the clubhouse, we did. So we finished our front porch. And we also did more, put it up here. So, improvements. What's this one? Oh, yeah, the clubhouse was painted. Yeah, we're going to do the coloration this year. So we're going to go blue and white style. And street work, and we'll do that done repairs on the first time I had to do the triple concrete repairs on 2 areas. But that's taken care of. And that pretty much covers that. That was done last year anyway. This looks kind of new version as well, Alfie? Yes. Okay. Yeah. The right two columns on the profit and loss, after the 5% increase in budget. And the others is the 14%, that includes that additional $16. We want all the increase in all items of work, whether it's streets, sidewalks, pool, and everything, they're identical. The differences are a couple of items for income line and for command. And net income on the bottom. And in both cases, we are showing, 10-point deficit budget, the 5% dues increase of $140,000, and the 14% increase of $112,000. And that will be for, as a result of what we are proposing. I think a lot of that, I think we'll probably end up discussing and then reduce both sections as we go along. But, yeah, we have a few things that are inherited. I think it's covered in the new section, that bounce around, trees fall in several areas.
What are the numbers with 5% increase and 15% increase? What are the numbers?
The budget, in terms of what they're proposing to do, that is the same in each one. I mean, we have the same utilities in each one.
So you're gonna have, you're gonna put the money into a capital improvement project, so.
Yeah.
What's yours?
That, yeah, as you look at the bottom line of the last page, yeah, we run a deficit budget in both of them. 140,000 in one and 115 in the other. That's really the only difference. And what we're doing is exactly the same, just a matter of what we went down and how we finance that difference. Yes.
I can't call from it, I still have a call from people not saying
There's a few, I think maybe 4 or 5 that are behind on their dues. Some because they're at work, and another one just on that. Yes.
4 or 5 out of the entire complex. Oh,
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
197 people, 4 or 5, you know.
I was retired question, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
No.
Not at all.
I thought it was a lot more.
No.
We only had 13 out of 197 that were delinquent. Then there's September, 4 of those have already paid in October. And one of them that has not paid has been since our lawyer.
So at what point is something done, any action taken?
We send out 3 letters. After those 3 letters, then it gets $500, then it goes to the attorney. We put a lien on their home. The attorney contacts them, and we have one that we're gonna take to court.
Okay,
Because-
so this is serious business.
Yeah, it is, because if people don't pay their dues, then, you know, and everybody else is paying their dues, it's not quite fair, because they get the same, you can't withhold services like, you can't withhold trash. The only thing they do is, they're not allowed in the pool, but, yeah, I would say, chances are, they're not going to the pool anyway. But it's just not fair to everybody else, you know, we're all in this together. If you're living here, you know, you have to pay dues.
Right.
So we can maintain Gramercy.
And a lot of people, when we change the dues, they're signed up in the ACH program, they don't change that, and so they're getting gradually behind.
Well, then, of course, they're getting notified though, right?
Yeah.
Well, then-
Yeah, one person's still paying $166 a month.
So at what point will that person, I mean, at what point do you?
Well, it will just, you know, I hate to send it to the attorney, but it's like, okay, they'll respond to the attorney more than they will to us.
Oh, yeah, just one letter.
Yeah, so chances are, within the next month, we'll be sending those, and saying, can you get this money? So, if we get them current, even if it's only $8 a month, it still adds up.
Right.
You know, so, sure. Any other questions on the budget? Right now? Yes.
I just had a question on, as far as the attorney fees, how is that? Is there a specific each time you have to call the attorney, use the attorney as your fee? Is it just an overall?
No, it's $300 an hour. So we email him and then he'll respond back. That's the easiest way to get a hold of him.
Is it kind of like 0 minutes to 1 hour, $300 work.
Well, no, it just depends, like, I think it's like on that quarter of an hour. So if it only takes him 2 minutes to answer, then he just charges us for probably 5 minutes.
And then, like, if you talk about when you're having to take someone to court, those court fees come out of our dues?
No, they are put onto the person that we take to court. All attorney fees, court costs, everything that is put on to that person. Any other questions? Yes.
So you're proposing to, run over your budget for, about $1 a month, cover those expenses. Is there an interest rate that's proposed on that, or anything like that?
No, I looked into doing a loan, but the board would be responsible on it, so none of us was really like, no, I don't think so. They would put, you know, we would be signing off on it, and there wouldn't be, so all 7 of us would have to sign the paperwork, and that it'd be on our credit report and everything else. So we decided not to do that.
So you won't run over the budget?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, we try to stay within the budget, you know, unless there's an emergency, but we do have an emergency fund of 50,000. So if the water main breaks in one of our units that we're responsible for, then we dig it up, fix it, and then it goes against the emergency fund. Yeah. Any other questions?
Just trying to, so we're not going over budget, that was negative 141,000, so are you modifying the activities or putting that on? How are you staying within the budget?
Well, if we don't get what we need to, I mean, everybody has a budget they have to work within. And they're really not allowed, unless it's an emergency or something, to go past their budget. So we watch the fund really very carefully. You know, like, if Dave wants to do a parking area, well, if he doesn't have exactly what he needs, say, $100 and some thousand, then we're like, you just have to save the money and do it next year. You know, it's just like everybody else. If we don't have the money, we have a capital improvement fund, so we're putting money into that. So if we, like for Oak, we did 1/3 of Oak and we had 2/3 left. So we would, you know, we're putting money in that so we can do that, so it doesn't hit us so hard.
I could explain that, the budget, the deficit lines that show on the bottom are basically straight out of the operating and capital totals. We propose to balance that by a method that I'll go over again and we discuss the dues increases. Basically, if you look at the capital reserve account in the balance sheet, we can grab about 7,000 out of that. And in the checking account, we've been told in repeated meetings that, that is too high. We agree. So we'll be pulling about 70 out of that one as well. That will reduce the capital one back to about the 50 we started with this year. And we'll leave about 75 as a minimum in the checking account, which discussions on the board and treasurers have indicated they're amenable with that reduction. So we are basically balancing that, eliminating that deficit by transferring funds from capital and checking. And depending on which dues increase we do, we'll see how much we can transfer from each one.
So we're gonna change the agenda a little bit. So the next person will be, we'll the hospitality, and that's been right. Can you hear me?
I'm having trouble hearing tonight, so I don't know if it's me or if, or what. I am a member of the board. Patty didn't introduce me, maybe because I wasn't sitting there. But I'm the hospitality chairman, and I had to kind of put things on hold September and October. I had brain surgery in September, and I'm recovering. So our next event is going to be bingo at the clubhouse. I don't have a date scheduled for that yet. I can't drive. I can't go get prizes. So information will be coming out on that. We will do the holiday lighting competition again this year for gift cards. So be looking for information on that. We'd love to have as many homeowners as possible participate, make our community look pretty and bright in the holiday season. So if you are inclined, there'll be information that comes out in the newsletter about how to register so that your house is listed and people know to go and see it and vote. And then our big event of the year, we've had two of them now, very successful. The pool opening event, Memorial Day weekend, is combined with a live band. And the first year we called it Live Band and Barbecue because we actually had hamburgers and hot dogs grilled on site. But we had a corporate sponsor that helped pay for that. Last year we didn't have, or this year we didn't have that corporate sponsor, so we did everybody bring their own picnic, but we had fewer people come out. So that's why you're seeing maybe an adjustment in the hospitality budget. If we provide food, more people come. So, but it's a fun event. We'll do it again. How many of you have been to that? Did you like it? Yes. You want to see it continue? So that's our big event. Bingo quarterly, and a holiday contest, and anything else?
We'll figure out something else.
Okay, that's all I have.
Oh, there was a question.
Does somebody have a question?
Carla, she is our communication newsletter.
So I don't have a lot other than this will be newsletter number 4 for me this quarter, but one of the things that I always ask at the bottom of the newsletter, like I'm always asking for suggestions, what do you want to hear about, what do you want updates on? I try and include that in the newsletter. So the next one is going to start being written in November for distribution in December. So just email the office or myself and we'll get that rolling. Very easy update.
I just want to say thank you. I think that newsletter is wonderful. I don't contribute a darn thing to it. Sorry.
I go around asking everybody, what do you want to hear about? What do you want to see? Thank you.
Okay. Alan. He is underground lighting and fountains.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I've got a pretty good voice. This has been an unusual year. I'm limping around here. I hurt my back, so I'm walking around like a chicken. Starting in the fall last year, we went into the fall with a drought. You all remember last summer our earth was not going to recover. So we abandoned our normal overseeding that we try to do in fall, periodic and sporadic overseeding. We bagged that for the winter. And back in the spring, we spent a little bit more money for seed this year than we normally do, but we had money that was budgeted for snow and ice removal and plowing, and we didn't have to do that so much last year. We only had, I think, one plowing event and 3 or 4 salting events, so we were able to use that money to do some more seeding. You can see it. Now, we've had 2 drought periods this summer. This year, we've had 2 rainy periods this summer, and we've had a lot of wind. We've had a lot of limbs that have been blown down. We've had a lot of hangers that are up there, hangers that broken branches up in the tops of the trees. Arbor masters will be in here after the 1st of December with their winter rates to do the pruning to get the trees away from the houses. We try to keep limbs at least 10 feet away from all residential units. And they'll try to get the hangers if we can find, and that's a never-ending dump box of trying to figure that stuff out. The fountains, we cleaned up all 4 fountains this year. We had to replace the pump in the main fountain out on 95th and Perry. We cleaned it, we sealed it, we repaired it, and we cleaned the inside of that one, and then we did the same thing to Apple and Birch. And other than that, we had our normal 31, 32 mows. Always right on the target for mowing. And that's about all I have. Anybody have questions or comments?
So last fall, we were going to leave, they knocked my fence from my residence and cracked the, cover that goes over my window, the basement. So
Well,
I
that
am
into the office.
responsible for that, but
They knocked it down, we'll have Charlie fix it.
When you place your cover. But
Yeah.
come to the office and let us know your address.
and also, I'm wondering, around the mount area, my front door is right there. I don't quite understand why we're planting trees, that there's dead tree limbs around that area since I'm,
Which fountain are you talking about?
right in front of 953.
Are you, what courtyard, are you in Apple?
I'm not following where you are, ma'am.
Apple tree.
Apple,
She
okay.
tried to be my neighbor.
Oh,
Okay. Well, we had planted into trees in Apple.
No, that's really the cost of the trees, but.
I'm sorry?
she said it was included in the cost of our.
It's in the dues, the budget that we put together. There's always fountains that other people don't have. They have to pay for fountains, and they don't have a fountain for their house. All fountains levels out. Other questions?
What she's talking about is we're planting trees, and we have dead limbs and others that aren't being taken care of or cleaned out. So that's what she's mentioning. And on top of that, I don't understand why we keep doing all this if we don't have any sprinkler system. I understand that's expensive, but when you say you have a budget left over because you did have the fund, but then you applied it to grass seed, why are we not saving some of that money over and figuring out a way to put in an irrigation type system for us so that we can plant trees, we can have grass and flowers?
Have you been in the landscape and green industry for 50 years?
No, I haven't, but
No,
I understand that.
We
We wouldn't
can.
know we had to do that, we always have.
It's not affordable.
Well, then, we should be planting trees if we can't keep them watered. That's, I think, everybody's
We
saying.
can water trees. You see Charlie water trees all summer?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
And I offered to water our grass, but he put a new hose out there that has a sprayer sprinkler on it that we could, David tried to help me, we could not figure out how to get it off so I could hook my sprinkler on it to put it out in there to water.
Unscrewed one.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Doesn't take it.
Did not move
It does not come off. And we can't have grass if there's trees are still full of dead limbs, plus they need to be thinned out enough. And if that's done every 5 to 7 years, it's not something that has to be done every year. But if you don't keep the trees cleaned out and thinned out, they're gonna keep having dead because they're being smothered out. So I think if we spend that extra money to thin those trees out, then it's not gonna be an issue we have to do every year.
it. Ellen, we did increase the tree maintenance budget about 30%.
I'm sorry?
We did increase the tree maintenance budget about 30% for this coming year. So, I'm aware of it.
I wasn't there that part of the meeting. Nancy had a question. Every 7 to 10 days, when it's in good healthy growth, it's every week, it's every third. I'm sorry?
You probably had agreement that you would do it and they definitely didn't need it now.
Well, it doesn't need to be stretched out. And we don't mow every week, we don't need to.
So I called the office about a garden hose that was left in my front yard. Apparently whoever owned my residence before gave Gramercy Park, permission to use my water for the fountain, so I hope that got fixed. After I talked to the officers.
Should have called the office.
I did, I talked to someone about it.
I
I work construction, so I'm on the.
Told her not to do it. We don't have permission, we don't do it.
When they come over to blow when they come over to blow the leaf, sometimes they just push it to the side, of the houses, and that accumulates over time, so when some of those things that they have around the living areas, there were some places that were piling leaves from here.
Yeah.
Is it harder for them to take them, or is it okay just for them to push up to the water?
No, we need to get them out of there. Once we start with the leaves, which is gonna start in the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing it all the way up to Christmas. Periodically. There's no date on when the leaves are gonna release and fall. We've had a lot of winds, we've had a lot of damage this year. I don't remember we were on the east side, how much debris we had piled up there. That was all from the storm damage. We had another year, so. Other questions?
How often we only have the tree screen one time a year?
Large trees?
No, just, I mean, in general, is it just a one-timer, or is it twice a year?
Usually once a year, we come in and trim out the large trees that are impacting you, getting close to the road or side of the units. Plus, they don't want our limbs burning back and forth in the wind and scraping against the roof on any of our units. We're trying to get those all out of there. That's a big thing that we'll be doing in December.
Yes.
I have a concern in my house, I have a big tree, but there's a lot of wedding in it. And it's not scraping my house and my car, but they do need to be turned out because then the wind is going to blow or down, and then it's the water.
Charlie's got your light ready to be reinstalled, by the way.
Pardon me?
Charlie's got your light ready to be reinstalled.
Good.
There's one next to Kristen's house.
I like it.
You're back in?
Are they on timers?
What?
Yes. And you'll get the post lights that are in our square.
Photo cells.
Okay, so the other night I woke up, it was dark. Then they came on, and then they were on during the morning when the sun was still
I was
out.
the residents doing a repair on the garages and next to that Riley's unit. And they came over to my house on Saturday and asked if I could turn the power off so they could work on the unit, and I ran back and I turned them off. And then I went back Saturday night and turned it back on when we came back home.
I'll just mention the lamp, I even, on drive on this picture, hasn't been working for months.
The light?
Intermittent for years.
We've only got a handful of lights that we're struggling with. And we struggle with our lights are leading. The lights were originally installed without concrete, harmonic action, wind, whatever a little bit, they'll start leaning.
And I watched the mower years ago, this working on inside. Is everything, association with the garages under your, supervision?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Garages, does anything have to do with garages, come under your jurisdiction?
No. Other than the annual inspections when we look at the garages.
Well, it's, the things that I'm concerned about is, downspout cleaning, making sure that the, downspouts, the gutters are kept clean and running.
On the garages?
Yeah.
That's your responsibility.
Well, that's our responsibility.
Yeah, the owners.
Just real quick, I don't know how many of you are on the website, the GPHA community website. There's a contact form on there, that we set up that you go in and fill that out. If you have a light pole, a tree, some other issue that is part of the community grounds or whatever, you can fill that out, and then I believe that gets submitted to Shelley in the office. But it's a way that we have to gather that information, we can track the issues that you guys are seeing, you are trying to address, so that there's paperwork for the office to have it, we have a record of it, and now we have a great chance of following that instead of kind of everybody just throwing stuff out there, hoping we remember all that. I'm the website administrator, so I just wanted to make sure that if you're not a part of the website, there's a way to get on there. If you are, there is that form on there that you can go and fill out and items that you have on your.
We do have somebody who comes in once a year to clean out the breezeway gutters and stuff. We can, and he's always looking, and he doesn't charge that much. I did mine front and back of my house and the garage for only $99. But he's excellent. He keeps our breezeways cleaned out, so they don't have issues, on your property and stuff.
Talking about the gutters on garages, because I know I use regular to do, they wash my windows twice a year and they do all my gutters. But that's on the townhouse, but on the garages where we're all attached to each other's, that whole thing needs to be cleaned out before it's gonna work. Is there a way that, I don't know who all have my garages. I know, because my garage isn't attached to my townhouse, so I don't know really who's next to me or next to them or next to them. So is there a way that we could, everybody pitch in on that garage and get it done? Because they're not expensive, like you said, $99.
The directory out? That has addresses and where
Oh, it's
people
on
live?
the side.
It's on
Along with the directions, like,
Does that have a
which
garage
are
door
actual,
too? Yeah.
because that's gonna be the key.
Right, I need to know whose garages are all lined up on our building.
Yeah.
You go outside and check in the numbers.
Yeah, write those numbers down.
I actually, on my townhome, there's 8 garages, so, and the gutters were in horrible shape, so I called the company, they gave us a price, I sent everybody replacing the gutters, it's just one piece. There's no, and then there was 2 extra downspouts to drain properly, and I can send everybody a letter saying, we're reviewing this is how much you owe, and it was like $40.
Yeah, it's not very, I know the same thing with cleaning, but I didn't even think about that. You said it was our responsibility, because I'm on that corner, and that downspout's right where I am. So everybody's is draining down either my way or the other direction.
And there's probably one garage, and then the downspout, too.
I didn't even think about that.
Mine's the same way.
I never dawned on me that we need to do this clean. I thought that was probably part of the thing too. Okay.
Any other questions, Ron?
About the lighting improvement, is it possible to do the cleaning
Oh, painting the poles?
Yeah, it's something simple that shouldn't be that expensive, and it's a lot to the field of the whole area.
I've been talking about it a lot. Because he wants to sand it, prime it, and paint it. And, it's breaking. So he and I had a long conversation about it just today. We need to get that done. The fixtures, I don't want any of us messing with the fixtures because they got power to them. Charlie got stung about 15 times the other day. Yeah, and he took on the fixtures down, he didn't look inside of it, he took it down and he got it. But he learned how to dance. I made a lot of progress on the fixtures. He sands them down to bare metal, primes them, paints them, and bakes them in the heat of his shop. They come out looking really good.
I would have the lanyards like around the pool and the other entries and so on are black. That looks so nice, and then the ones in our courtyard are all white.
I don't know the answer to that, because
It's right now.
it was like that when I was in the end, 15 years ago.
You can start painting the Black Forest.
I was gonna say, last year, we agreed that it was okay for residents to paint their own.
Say
Years ago, though, when I moved here, we either had a black or a white door, no colored doors. And that was 43 years ago.
Paint your own.
I know the doors used to be just black and white, but, and this is just my opinion, I painted my door burgundy because it's my door and I can't stand a black and white door. And as long as it's not, my next door neighbor at one time had a diverse taxi cab yellow, and it was like, wow, that's right. But it didn't look really bad against the red brick, so, you know, and so we're looking to go through the bylaws again and the declaration and change some stuff, because, you know, it's 2023, and those were written in 1964, probably, 65, so, yeah, they need to be updated a lot.
One thing I'd like to add for us in the next year is have a garden of the year. Landscaping, if people want to do some landscaping. I know. You've done a great job. There's a lot of hard work into that. It wasn't a 10-minute job. But that would help to increase the overall looks. And even though I'm a landscape architect, I don't think everything has to look the same. And that's what regimentation does a little bit. Having color, having texture, having form. If you don't mind having hummingbirds and bumblebees and honeybees around. Hummingbirds are fabulous in keeping me occupied.
Patio or out front?
I'm sorry?
Patio area or out front or just
Either one.
Okay.
A lot of people done stuff in their patios.
Yeah.
That none of us ever seen. Any other questions for me, and I'll sit down. Thank you all.
Okay. Last thing on is Dave. Dave?
Yep.
You on the mic? Yes. He's on streets and sidewalks.
Okay. Streets and sidewalks, back on page 3 or 4, in the wall statement. We had new like driveways done this year. A couple of years, but there are a few that continue to be done. If you are in a duplex, replaced. You can contact us, we basically split the share on that 50-50. Because on the duplex sites, we have a chunk of right away from. So incentive for the duplex residents to do the repair or replacement of their driveway. The other one is the streets and asphalt repair. That was primarily just the asphalt ceiling this year. If you look at the budget, we had budgeted 15, we spent 25. That's basically all of that was for the work that we paid in 23, for work that was done in 22. So, it looks worse than it really is. But on a year-by-year basis, we've been doing pretty good on that. Let's see. The only other place we've got anything that shows up, back on the last page. Only duplex papers. Capital maintenance, 44. We do have a line item in there on the sidewalk repairs. That's kind of a holdover. We're getting some more concrete work done now. We'll probably have to keep reconfiguring some of these accounts so they're more appropriate with the actual work that's being done. And treasurer and everybody else is aware of that. That's pretty much counts for the streets and sidewalks. Okay, there's some more apologize, some more fury tomorrow afternoon. Cross fingers, haven't heard definitively on that. The budget is one day to do the job. Not even close to getting done. So that, we have 3 sections left.
Questions?
Questions?
Do we still might have the money to finish up Oak Street, the parking lot for concrete?
Do we have enough money to finish Oak? Parking.
We've got enough in the budget this year to finish the which portion of it. Basically up to the island again, something like we stopped a year or so ago on the east side. Going from the island north to 96 Terrace is a big jump. That is, that's a big jump. A lot of that I can discuss a little bit in the due section, because there is a little way we can fund that in the 5% those increases.
So it's still not enough money. We can't hear exactly what you're saying. You're saying there's still not enough money, is that right?
To finish all of it, up to 96 Terrace, that would be, we can get the west portion of it. The north portion is probably going to be squeezed out a few years, unless we can get some additional revenue. That's no disadvantage on that.
And then one last question.
Yep.
The parking numbers, parking, they were wonderful. And I just wondered when you guys are going to put them on this.
When are they going back on? Yes, I guess both of those have been there, less like parking spaces, and Beach and Oak primarily. They were scheduled to go on earlier this week. It didn't happen, and the rains hit. Now, it's supposed to have nice dry weather this week, this coming week. Whether the temperatures work with the material we're spraying on is a good question. But I think it's into the planning and getting it in later in the week. The numbering goes pretty quick. The cars don't have to be moved out for that. So that goes pretty fast. We'll also be doing some asphalt patching in a few areas at that same time, we hope. So cross fingers, if everything works, maybe by the end of next week, I'll have it taken care of. We've got about a month or so of parking free for all out there.
Those numbers are great, people can see them really well. You're parking in one spot, it's real clear. But somebody's not parking properly.
That was part of the reason we pulled them out back. That was actually a suggestion by the people at Precision Care that does the sealing and painting of the stripes. It probably would be better to move it from the sidewalk to the back of the cars where it's visible. Putting it on the sidewalk, the driving in, you can't see it. And once you park the car over, you can't see it either. But now it's quite visible. It has to be, you have to re-stencil it every time you seal, but that's only once every couple of years. Fingers are next week.
Yes. Was it last year that they did the mud jacking on our sidewalks?
They did some this year and some last year, and I had the pool area instead of replacing concrete mud jack. But it wasn't mud jack, it was polyfoam. So it's supposed to last a lot longer than just the mud.
Okay, well, I noticed, and I think, I'm not sure what the issue was, but mine sunk down again. I think we talked about it, and you can see the holes where they had done it, but it just didn't hold up.
Well, like I said, it was done last year and that drought year, and obviously they raised it considerably after the year, probably raised it 1.5 inches. But
Is it just the way your sidewalk is there?
right after that, things have changed, they've done massive rainfall. Some of those areas, there are a couple areas that we redid this year.
I didn't know they do any kind of warranty. Because it has dropped considerably. I mean, it's okay, I don't
Most
know.
of them have a warranty, but it's the type of thing that it's got to be at least an inch, and, it can be modified by drought conditions and weather. So there's a little wiggle room on that.
Okay, and we have those.
So it's one of those things, you know, every year in the spring, I've been wanting and trying to get other members to walk with me to go and see this entire complex. A lot of people don't know everything that's here. And you can mark down what needs to be done and where. So come April or so next year, we'll have a little announcements out if anybody wants to volunteer and walk around. And get your comments in. Yeah.
Any other questions for them? Okay, so, no more questions?
You forgot me.
I'm sorry. I'm forgetting somebody.
No problem. So I'm Brad, I'm the secretary, I've got my finger and loud pies. Let's see here. This year, we're working on a communication policy. It's supposed to pass to kind of cover some of these questions on social media of, you know, what's appropriate to be posted, what shouldn't be, and to keep things, you know, constructive and not get too ugly. So that's been put together. We're going to probably pass it at the next meeting. It's been kicked down the road because we've been busy with other things. Let's see here. I've been working on trying to put together, formalizing and documenting our processes, the way we do things year to year, month to month, and trying to get all of these things into a policy book. Carla's kind of helping me on this. At least we're working in the preliminary information gathering stage right now. The situation, at least in my mind, is between Patty and Alan. They do a hell of a lot of work, and this organization runs on their back and their institutional knowledge. And we want them to be around forever, but at some point they might want to take a break. So we want to get some of this stuff written down and have it around just so we know how to pick up if and when they decide to take a break. Let's see here, what else have we done? Updating the bylaws and declarations. That's still on the back burner. We would like to see some volunteers for a committee to get that together. Some of the plans, like Patty said, is to get things updated. A lot of old stuff in there. We want to look at, you know, potentially prohibiting rentals, exploring that issue. Let's see here. And then another thing involved in is being a tech nerd. Some of the technical stuff, technical improvements we're trying to do to bring ourselves into the 21st century. This is a test here with the camera. A lot of people have been saying we'd like to do Zoom meetings. We're probably going to try to record meetings to start out with so people can watch after the fact. If we get volunteers that are willing to help us do Zoom meetings, because it'd be something somebody else would have to manage during the meeting, we could do it, and that would be great. And then James has been doing a great deal with the website, manage the website. What else did I want to say about that? That's pretty much it. Oh, and getting Shelley up to speed, getting her email system fixed. With Google Fiber coming in, we're going to have to abandon Spectrum, thank God, which is how she does her email right now, through Roadrunner, and so we're looking to get her email system and computer system upgraded. Every time she sends you guys an email, it takes her over an hour to do it. 3 hours. Because it will only send out so many at a time, and she has to wait on them, which is ridiculous. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna look at finally getting into cloud sharing of documents, and hopefully get us up to speed to be a little more efficient and better communicators as a board. That's all I got.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
I would like to thank James for doing our website. I appreciate it. And recommend this for people nagging me about Google Live. And they have volunteered to help with if we're going to do Zoom and get some technology. So people, if you don't want to come to the meeting, but if you want to watch it from home, it'll be easier for you. So that, and I appreciate you volunteering to help with that.
I think it goes hand in hand with the website work on bringing all the communications up to the 21st century. And along with the website, and everything goes from the backbone, which is going to be the transport of the data, which is going to be the Google server. And that's going to help with, eventually we move into live streaming, perhaps, doing live streaming for the sessions that are going to get automatically saved into to the cloud to be watched afterwards. People chiming in remotely, there are people that might want to come into the sessions, but they are unable to do so for whatever reason. I don't know, there's a few ideas that we need to run, but yeah, of course.
So we look forward to doing that this coming year.
Yeah.
You gonna be like TikTok, Brad? Do the TikTok feed? Come up with a GPA dance, neighborhood shuffle.
So the next order of business is voting. We are going to increase it, well, yes, no.
So the next order of business is voting? I need to submit mine, I gotta look at the airport.
Oh, okay.
I enjoy this.
You said voted there. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any proxies? I knew you would, Chris. Thank you. Anyone else have any proxies? Absentee ballots? If you're here, you can't use your absentee ballot. Okay. Okay, so, what? Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're voting on, we're going to be doing the 5% regardless, because everything costs more, so we're going to be doing the 5%. What you're going to be voting on tonight would be the 14%, which would raise your dues to $207 per year, or $2,484 per year. So $207 monthly, sorry, and $2,484 yearly. And so that's what they're going to be voting on. We're going to increase 5% because of inflation and everything else we have to.
What's that, I'm sorry, when will that increase take? Is it January?
January 1st.
And that's the five.
Yes,
Whether, either or, right? Like both of them would be January 1st.
yes. So we have to give you, yes, yes, ma'am.
I didn't get a letter until September telling me the dues were raised from the year before, so I was behind. So how does that happen?
You didn't, because in you would have got a letter,
No one notified me, I've only been here for a year, no one notified me that it was in the. Actually, my realtor told me that it was worth $150, and it wasn't until after I moved in, which was my realtor's fault, not blaming anybody here. But then when they raised them, I was paying, I found out they were the 174, and I was paying them, and it went up. This is my first meeting.
okay,
And I wasn't notified until September. And so I was behind.
do you have email with us?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so
So I don't understand why it took so long for them to let me know that.
I'm not either. What's your address?
9553 Perry Lane. I mean, I paid it up. It's caught up.
Yeah, I'll look into it and see what happened. Because if you don't, we send out letters to everybody stating that your dues are going up January 1st and the amount. So I apologize if we somehow missed you. I'm not sure how that happened, but I'll check into it. And then I'll send you an email or a letter letting you know what happened.
On the weekly, how would you get a reminder of the future? On the weekly email that we get? There was a reminder.
She might not be on the.
Yeah, she might not.
be on
We
the-
might. Yeah, we'll check and see if you have an email, and if you do.
Well, I put it on the sign-in sheet.
Oh, okay, we'll double check those things. Okay, so we're gonna do the proxies first, so Carla and Brad will be marking out the ballots. Okay, for Janet Warren, she is going for Renee Austin. It has, they disagree, so no.
Question,
Yes,
this is for the smaller amount or the larger?
this is for only for the larger amount.
Okay, so you need a motion for that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Brad, do we need a motion?
Not to count the proxy ballots,
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay, for Renee Austin is no. Angela Washington, James Hetherington has a vote, and it is a no. Carol Bassett, James Harrington again has a vote, and she said no. Tanya Tate, Stephanie Deacon, it is a no. Oh, there's two properties, okay. Stephanie Beecraft again, and Chris Hutchinson brought it in, and it is a no. So those are all the proxies. Did you get Aaron Hauser, HOWZE, is a no. We did already count the absentee ballots. We had 5 yeses, 33 noes. Okay, I'll be calling off your name, and you're only allowed to vote 1 per household. If you rent, unless you brought in a proxy, you are not allowed to vote. What?
Where do the people here vote? Maybe equal need to go over what they voted on.
If you want to do that now? Yeah.
Okay. Because part of the things that part of what they were asking for earlier, I can explain now. Okay. For this coming year, whether or not, for this coming year, whether or not you raise the dues 5 or 14% will really make no difference in terms of what we do. It will only be a difference of how much money we transfer out of CIP and checking to balance the budget. Those are the two line items where we had either 140,000 deficit or 115. So this coming year can be handled either way. The problem comes afterward, 25. If we do not raise the dues, that will be basically the end of any of our street work for several years. We will cut the CIP down to its low point. Our checking account will be down to what we conceive as a reasonable minimum. All we can do then is start to cut our capital improvement work during the year, about in half, save it up for about 3 years, and we might be able to do a street debt. So people were asking, when are we going to finish out without the dues increase? The earliest we could do any other street beyond the west one would be like 27. And that probably would not even be North Oak because that's a big job. Streets beyond that will be every 3 years afterward. So without a stiff dues increase, street improvements around here are going to be pretty darn stretched out. Raising the dues the additional $16, like I said, doesn't really make a whole lot of difference this year. It's just that we don't have to transfer $140,000 out of those other two accounts. We only have to transfer about $115,000. We are basically going to save that $35,000 and pile it into next year. At which point, we would have enough money to work a small project. Probably not all of North Oak because it's too big, but perhaps one of the smaller ones, and one of the others. But we could at least get multiple projects underway. So the difference on it basically is, if you want to look at, put a little blinders on, look 1 year at a time, do the 5%, and that's it. And we'll be back here again next year, asking for another strip increase. And there would, even if we had a strip increase, there would be no street work that year because we wouldn't have the funds till the end of the year. So street work is going to really be shoveled back. With the dues increase, we are basically saving that and starting to accumulate it for the future. Kind of like what the reserve study was asking us to do. So that is a little more forward-looking for a couple of years down the line. So that's really the only difference between the two. Questions? Yes.
My main question is it not possible to reevaluate the budgets in other areas to help support the infrastructure if that is what's most important?
Okay, that's a good question. Notice, and that is one reason why we've got this budget split into the operating budget and the capital budget. The operating budget is administrative, yards, grounds, utilities, pool operations, things like that that pretty much have to be done every year, regardless. And those are actually pretty consistent from year to year. We can project that very well. The capital work is the ones that are little oddball ones. The street projects can vary between 90 and 160,000. Sometimes we do a lot of pool work. We do last floor, replacing the clubhouse roof. Those we have to budget in. And we're doing a few things this year. They're in the capital improvement section of the budget. You can see what we are proposing to do. I believe it's about 70,000. 77,000 in there. You could cut that in half. You could save $40,000 a year. Okay, for $100,000+ street job, you see you got to save it for about 3 years. With our, if you want another list of capital work proposed, cut it in half. Okay, whatever page, what page is that on? It's on sheet 404. All we have to do is find 404. 204. 404. Okay. What's in there proposed this year? Ash tree removal, some landscaping for the curb appeal, and make the buildings look better. A few new trees. Upgrading the basketball court a bit, overlay, straighten out the poles, get them back in operation. That showed up quite a bit on the open house meetings. Sidewalk improvements, about 12. We still have some work in Apple and Maple, about 10. Around the clubhouse, the planning's around that, 5. Cut that in half. That's what we'd have to do for about 3 years to fund one small street project without the dues increase. That's the one problem. Yes?
Have we ever thought, or have you ever thought about doing just like a one-time assessment? I mean, we had to do that.
We thought
That we
about
know.
it, but it's easier to do it a little each month than one big chunk, because a lot of people are on fixed incomes, and they can't come up with $2,000 or $3,000 at once. We thought about it, but a lot of the residents said they can't afford that big chunk all at once, so that's why we just added to the dues if we can.
Yep,
It
the
seems
other
like
reason
you're
we-
looking at doing smaller projects when you have the money instead of saving that money to do towards one bigger project.
Well, the question is, which ones need to be done first? That is what our reserve study took a look at,
To me, it's the
prioritizing
infrastructure. It's all
projects,
about it.
because we have several, and it goes across grounds, buildings, pool, lights, everything. What's a reasonable priority to work on? And yeah, we use their professional expertise to help us on that. Another reason we would like a dues increase rather than an assessment. Assessment is a one-time thing. We can't plan 2 years in advance if it's all done with assessments, because we don't know if that assessment will go through. If the dues increase is in there, we can look ahead several years and know what funding we've got coming in. Then we can actually rearrange and shuttle these little projects around to stay in budget. That we can do if we know what our future funding is. A simple comparison on that is compare Missouri and Kansas with the parks. Missouri has that 0.1% sales tax that goes for conservation of parks. Their park system is great. They can do 5-year projects because they know their funding is there. Kansas is legislative once every year. You don't know what the budget's going to be next year until the year starts. They can't plan 5 years in advance. Missouri has a better system than Kansas has. That's why we'd like to have that do, so we know what's coming and we can plan for it. As you said, shuffle the projects around and stay in it. If we knew the funding limits, if we knew the funding line that was coming, we can do that.
So who's making the decisions to shuffle what? Is that the
Well,
board?
that's what you were asking. Then we shuffle. If we knew the funding limits coming in, we can do that. On a year-by-year basis, we can do that. But without that dues increase, we're just going year by year. You can say if it fails this year, which is not looking too good, there's not going to be a whole lot. We'll be back next year asking for the same thing or more. That'll be my last year on the board, so what the heck, turn it over to the next group to deal with it. But, and many of the people who live in the asphalt street area, yeah, it's going to be like late 20s before we get to it. So, that's what we got. Yes?
So if the 14% is approved this year, would that effectively forestall dues increases in subsequent years?
Every year the board has to review what's going on. It is certainly going to cut, there should not be any need for any big dues increase after that, other than like the 5% type of stuff. We hope there's not going to be another $16 one. Nobody wants to do that again. Inflation will do a whole lot to cut that 16 down. So there will probably be small increases even in the future with that, but it gets us started.
So even if we do the 14 now, what you're saying, this next year for the 14%,
the following year, it's gonna be another 5% anyway, or more again.
Yeah, the
So you're not
5%,
really.
the 5% may come on, yes. Yeah, core inflation's running 4 or 5% right now.
Going in that
And
range.
the expenses on the construction stuff are running about 40% above what was in the reserve study. That reserve study was done in late '21. Within 3 months, the inflation took off. And next year, inflation is 9.5%. So over the first year, those numbers are already out. So we need the cash to face that 40% increase, just like everybody. Street car station, fire stations, gate up that car on 69. It's expensive. Anyway, that's it. Any questions? Okay.
Okay, so once again, we will be taking the vote for the larger increase only. I got 2 absentee ballots for Tina Miller, she had to leave. And she said no. Karen Perkins, Kristen Miller received her proxy, and it is a no. So the sign-up sheets we're going to, it would be under Bill, they own the house together. So his is some, this one? Some Wall Street, got it, yeah, okay. Okay. So, we call it your name, and all you have to say is yes or no. Jane Harrington, sorry.
No.
Rebecca, you guys. Yeah. Marvin Nestor.
No.
Slow down, slow
Oh,
down.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Jane, I'm hearing.
Was a no. Okay, Rebecca Eubanks was a yes. Eubanks. Okay, Martin Nestor.
Martin Nestor, no.
Okay. Kristen Miller.
Yes. And the reason why is because I live in West Oak. And if we don't do this, West Oak is probably never going to be
Stephanie. If she's already, we did absent. Is she here, Stephanie? Yeah, okay. I was just didn't want to, I'm like, wait a minute, she's already got it. Janet and Jim Warren. Yeah.
You say Warren?
WORREL. Okay, Anna Flores. Daniel, what was the last name?
You can find me on Hernandez or Flores, I think best. Or Hernandez is the same.
Page 2.
Daniel, you had an absentee ballot. The last name is SW.
Right?
Swine.
Yeah.
And he already had it.
Yes, it's already down.
Okay. Okay, Jane, you can't vote because your wife already did. One per household.
We got it this year.
Yeah. Kathleen Wilson.
No. Kathleen Wilson, no.
Sharon Presley. No. Nancy Webb. You said yes?
You already measured.
You said weather?
Record. Robert Burns.
Yes. I didn't hear the last one. Arms, okay.
David Daniel.
No.
And by the way, thank you for doing the porch, the railing and stuff. It's very nice. Emily Werner? Emily? No. Yeah, we lived in two different houses. Yeah, two properties.
No.
Brad Jordan.
No.
Brenda Hanway. No. Hanway. Dave Bradley.
Yes.
Diane White. Yes. Please, Diane.
The last one was White.
Diane White. Diane White. Lynn Carlson. Yeah. Lynn Carlson, she said yes.
Okay, I already have her now.
Did you turn in a absentee ballot?
Yeah, about 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Rosemary, please. No. Okay.
I have that on my line.
Jean Green.
Yes.
I am going to do this one too. Just let me know. The first name is N-G. No. No, okay. How do you say it? How do you say your name? Oh, okay. Any yes or no? No. H-U.
That was a no.
No. Linda Minter? Yes. Katie Ryan? Yes. I'll be for it.
Hold on.
Okay.
What was that?
Kathy, Katie Ryan, yeah, no. She's a yes. Good. I'll be for it. Yes. Amy? No. Okay. I'm sure I did that. I apologize.
What was the last name?
Begnoche.
Yeah, that was a no.
Siri and Lori Haller.
No.
Howard.
H-A-L-L-E-R. Siri or Lori.
H-A-L-L-E-R.
Okay, that's right. It was a no. The last one is Dan Sorry. Yes, John? Okay, Tricia Foster, no. Okay, that's all of our votes.
No,
Oh,
my page. Did everybody sign in?
What about the far left-hand side?
But you haven't called my page.
They're mine.
And you have all the sheets.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the page. Other than Danielson.
Yeah.
Randy.
Selkie Garth. No. S as in Samuel, A-L-E Delta, I-V-A-R.
Thank you.
Kim Ryder.
Yes.
Edmund.
No.
Anything else? What was the last one?
First Edmund Thompson.
Okay, thank you.
Chris Hutchinson.
Two no's. One for 96671210011.
Okay. And Ellie.
Eli.
Eli.
Cardenas. No.
No.
Can we spell the last one?
C-A-R-G-E-N-A-S. Within my wife's Tiffany.
Okay, has everybody got a vote? One vote for home? Okay. So.
The people that never voted that never turned in.
Do what?
You got all people votes on, or some that probably did not?
We got, we had 33, 38, absentee ballots. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 proxy ballots. Well, it's the majority.
The bylaws read, it's 20%. 20% of the members, must attend the meeting, and then it's simple majority of those attending, I believe is the way it reads. So as long as we get 40 votes on one another, it's considered a valid tally.
Okay, so The increase for the larger amounts has been denied, so we'll only do 5% increase this coming year, starting in January. We will get notices out to let you know what the dues will be, yes. 66 no's, 14 yeses. So, now, is there any old business anyone wants to discuss? New business? A motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming and participating.
Thank you all for